This video I'm going to show you how to complete problem number 2 for Intro to Drafting. So here we go. This is the drawing that we are going to complete. It is a half circle with some other circles in it. So it's pretty simple. Here we go. First thing we're going to do, I always give you a tip as to where to start. In this case, it's a dark blue line and it is 4.5 inches, so I'm just going to start a line. And now what I can do is I'm going to take my finger off the mouse and I'm just going to type in 4.5, and you see how the L numbers change. Enter, enter, and here we have our 4.5 inch line. I'm going to move him right about there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw these inside circles. So the first circle I'm going to draw is the one in the upper right, and as you can see, it is 0.75 inches over and 0.75 inches down from the right side of that line. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a circle. I'm just going to draw a square. I'm going to draw a 0.75 by 0.75 inch square, as you can see here. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to bring it over and I'm going to snap it right on the end of that line. See, it says endpoint. Now I can draw my circle. Now I'm going to draw that circle is 0.75 inch diameter. As you can see in the drawing, it is, you'll see 2 times, that means there's 2 of them, 2 times diameter 0.75 inches. So I'm going to draw a circle, it's 0.75 inches. Come over here, diameter 0.75 in the object info palette. Now I'm just going to drag this guy, grab him right in the center, snap him onto the corner of that circle, delete the square, and now that circle is exactly where it needs to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate, I'm going to mirror that circle to the other side, because as you can see, it's 0.5 inches on either side of the center point of this object. So I'm going to select my circle, go up to mirror. Again, we're going to use this bad boy a lot. Click on the midpoint of the line. Click again. And there we go. Now next to what we're going to do is we're going to draw that little tiny circle right in the center. And that circle is directly in between the 2 big circles. So I'm going to draw a line from the center point of both circles and use that. I'm going to draw my little circle. As it shows, it is a diameter of 0.38 inches. Come over here to diameter in the object info palette, 0.38 inches. Enter. Grab it right in the center, snap it to the midpoint of that line, and we're good to go. We can delete this line. I encourage you to draw lines like that. Anything that can help you to draw these problems easier, better, more accurate, that's the deal. So now we're going to draw the medium-sized circle, and that is directly below the small circle by 0.75 inches. So I'm going to draw a line that's 0.75 inches, as I have right here, from the center point. Draw another circle, and that guy is a diameter of 0.56 inches. Over in the object info palette, diameter 0.56 inches. Drag them, snap them onto the endpoint, delete that line, and there we're set. Now we have everything drawn except that the last arc, last half a circle. Now what I'm going to do in this case, I'm just going to draw a full circle, and we're going to trim half of it. So we're starting from the center point to the outside, radius mode. So I'm going to click on the midpoint of this circle, snap on the outside edge. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have our trim tool that we used in the last project. Click up here, and here we go. Here's our finished product. So now what we need to do is we need to come in and dimension it. And the first thing I'm going to do for my dimensions is I'm going to put in my center marks for my circles. And if I come down here to the tool set and I'm going to click on dimensions and notes, you'll see all the dimensions and you'll see center mark. So I'm going to click on the center mark, And then I'm just going to come around and I'm going to click on the outside edge of all the circles, and lo and behold, look at that, there's our center marks. It's beautiful. Now we're going to come in and we're going to start dimensioning. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of start going here, and I'm going to start with the horizontal dimensions. So I'll start with this big guy up on top. So I'm going to click on the first end, click on the second end, and drag up where I want it to be. We'll make it right about here. Looks good. Here we go, 4.5 inches. Now let's see down south here. Let's start again. Now note that I am clicking on the center point. Okay, I'm clicking on that, and now I'm going to come over and I'm going to click on this center point here, drag it down. Let's see how it looks in the drawing, right about there. 1.5 inches, that's great. Now I'm going to do that dimension again. There, click there. Now I'm going to drag this guy down until they snap together. Here are these two dimensions. Now you notice that there's a separation between the dimension lines and the object lines. We want to make sure that separation is there so that it is very clear when somebody reads this drawing that something is a dimension and not an object line. We're going to do one more dimension. We're going to do this 0.75 inch dimension. And we're going to dimension to right here, the end point of the center mark. Come down, snap there. And now here we have our horizontal dimensions. Now you note, if I zoom in here, there's not a lot of separation between this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this dimension. You know, see how my cursor changes to a slash? I'm just going to drag it down a little bit until it snaps right there. And now we have that separation, and it should look right. So let's see. We have our horizontal dimensions. Let's do the vertical dimensions. So let's grab our constrained dimension. We're going to click on the top. We're going to click on this line right here. Drag it out about like that. Good. We're going to click on this point one more time. Over here. Click right there. That's great. So it looks like now all we have is our dimensioning our circles. So let's start with the big circle. Okay. We're gonna the radius of 0.225 inches. So I'm going to come up and I'm going to click on right here in this tool palette radial dimension, or right here radial dimension. And then we look up here, we'll see a couple different things in the mode bar. Internal diametrical, external diametrical, right here, internal radial, external radial. And then we have these two shoulder modes, which I'll show you in a second. We want internal because it's inside of the circle, and we want radius, we want radial mode. So we're going to do internal radial. Let's see what it looks like, interior radial. And what we're going to do is I'm going to click on this circle. It turns red, stating that's what we want to dimension. And now I'm going to sort of position it. Click again, and here's our dimension. Looks great. Now let's do the two big circles. That is an internal. It is interior, but it is diameter. So we want internal diametrical. So again, we're going to click on this. And now you see how we can kind of place it how we want. Now you notice, you see the text box up at the top. It's flipped the wrong direction that we want, and that is called the shoulder. So what I'm going to do while this dimension is live is I'm going to come up here, click on the other shoulder, the right hand shoulder mode, and now you notice how that changes. So I'm going to click again, and now we have a diameter of 0.75. But if you note on the drawing, you're going to see a point or a 2x. That means both those big circles are 0.75, and we're going to make that notation by selecting the dimension, and in the object info palette come down to liter, and we're going to type in 2x space and click enter or hit enter, and now our dimension shows exactly what it's supposed to. We're going to do the little tiny circle now, and that is again an internal diametrical. Start our dimension, internal diametrical, click on the circle, drag it out about like that. There we go. Our last circle is the medium circle at the bottom, and again that is a diameter, but it is a external diametrical, so we're going to select it and come up here and choose external diametrical. Click on the circle, drag it out where we kind of want it, right about here looks good. Click again, and here is our dimension. So if we look at this guy, I'm going to drag him down, this guy on top here, just a little bit. Drag it down, good. Now let's take a look at the original. I would say that looks pretty darn close. So there you go. That was problem number 2 for Intro to Drafting. I'll see you back for problem number 3.